For the plot, but we all know it is probably not. Little chat with another slice of life. Biggles keeps talking about another villainess. And in troubleに越されているので、私たちはそれらは全て分析します。It's the Biggles breakdown, another anime night, fighting all the shows and the plots. It's time for the Biggles breakdown.
After being fucked by my internet, I have been reincarnated as the villainous Thumbhole for Bowling Ball, right? I hope. Now, my backstory from backstage, why we're late. My video was so pixelated that I looked like not me. So we had to fix it. And then we did the circles to see if maybe that helped. And I am the bowling ball, the Thumbhole of the bowling ball. Because instead of Mickey Mouse, it's a bowling ball. So I have been reincarnated. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Biggles Breakdown. I am joined, as always, by Crimson Law and a little Chad. Say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hola, ¿cómo está? Konnichiwa, guten tag.
Yeah, he just said that in like 3 languages, I think.
Bonjour.
Okay, now we have to get rid of him because he's French, okay? Goodbye, Frenchman. Okay, so. I
am the Thumbhole now!
He has been reincarnated as the Thumbhole, but of the heroine's Thumbhole. Okay,
we should stop talking about women's thumbholes, okay? This is wrong.
Well, what is a thumbhole for a woman after all? Besides a bowling ball. Okay, so little Chad says, hopefully, Biggles' camera doesn't fail on the stream. Yeah, well, we've been having trouble with that. And yeah, so Muffler Tape says anime. I'm guessing he's also talking about thumbholes. But let's jump into anime. I don't know what this one is. So apparently it's not even on the correct one. So we're going to start with a new one.
It is chaos tonight.
Oh, jeez.
I thought we were going over the finales.
We were supposed to, but apparently I shared the wrong screen. Yes. So hold on. Let's replace screen. Okay. Now it's on the right one. Yeah. All right. So Apothecary Diaries. That's not a finale, right? We still got a bunch more to go.
We're at a mid-season.
Yeah, I think
finale.
we're getting into the second core.
There was a frog grabbing today, or not today. What was it? Saturday? Friday. This is a Friday show, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Friday. Yeah. Well, now we're on frogs and thumbholes. Great.
Yeah.
Turning the frogs gay.
Yeah. And she didn't want to talk about his frog. And
I almost feel like she has jinxed herself with, oh, well, who cares? I'm never going to see him anyway.
Yeah. And now she's going to see him. It's just the way it goes, you know? She's going to find out who he is, and they actually gave his real name at the end of the episode.
It's like the Scream rules. If you say I'm gonna be right, like don't say I'll be right back because you're gonna die. It's like, oh, who cares? I'll never see him again anyway. Congratulations, meet next season or next core's main character that we're introducing.
His frog. So the whole thing just turns into an inappropriate anime. It's one that has to get switched to high dive for all the things it will show.
If you listen to anime Twitter, they would tell you that you're an evil person for watching this because of those last 2 episodes.
Yeah, well, is that the no fun thing?
That's not really. I guess it does kind of fall into that category, but the no fun picture, it's something else.
Okay. All right. So this I so, the last episode before that when they were talking about the frog, I totally missed the frog. I didn't even see the frog, probably because I was reading subtitles and I missed it. And everybody was talking about a frog. So when I watched it this week, I was like, oh, they were talking about his penis. And then Crimson was like, no, there was an actual frog in the last episode. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, when they try to climb out of the hole is when Mao Mao is first introduced to the frog. So she falls and is on top of Jinshi. Um,
Oh, so the
and
very end of the episode was when the
yeah,
frog was. Okay.
yeah, and then she is grabbing something that she probably shouldn't have, and she mistakes it for the frog that jumped on her face.
Ah, got it. Got it. Okay.
So
Got
yeah.
it. Yeah, but what's that guy's name? The like jacked one that's in love with the courtesan? Yeah. What Lee or something like that?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. No, not Lakan.
Close
Lee
enough.
Haku. I think that's his name.
Okay, that sounds about right. He helps save them with the dog, and he helps Bazin catch the real culprit because the dog sniffs out the gun and finds the person who has it and tells them what's basically going on without actually saying what's going on. So he came in pretty clutch this episode, and I've always kind of liked him as like a little side character. He's kind of fun, but
Yeah, this episode I do like. They have like an interesting choice in time period because they have firearms that are being introduced, particularly like flintlock firearms. So I'm trying to like figure out that's going to be like you're approaching, I don't know, like 1400s at this point. Of course, this isn't like a real history. They do state that in like
mhm,
the actual show's credits, but
mhm.
it's one of those things where like I'm sitting here like, okay, so what time period are we doing?
Didn't China also have like a gunpowder way before everybody else?
Well, yes, but they used gunpowder for rockets and fireworks, and now their rockets weren't very good. And then the West discovered gunpowder, and they started making firearms. I believe China actually developed the hand cannon, which was basically just a tube on the end of a stick,
Mhm,
and they were pretty awful weapons. And then of course there was the Western invention of like the musket and the flintlock pistol and all of that kind of stuff, which they
mhm,
do comment on the Feifas as they were talking about being the
mhm,
Western model. I thought
mhm,
that was an interesting little touch, and I do like what they've been weaving together with all this stuff with the Western ambassadors and this assassination and all the things that have been snuck into the rear palace.
mhm. Well, they also had a sauna in like the first season, which wasn't during that time period either. So when they were trying to get the flowers, so and it's not even from China, so there has been stuff that doesn't match up time wise, but hey, it's a show, so
Sure, but it's still really fun and well written overall. I mean,
mhm.
I don't think it was like I think it was pretty clearly not like a real history from the get go.
Oh yeah.
Um, and not even like an embellished history like something like the Elusive Samurai is.
Mhm.
But overall, it's been fun. I think this one has struggled it struggled with the first couple of episodes because it tried to jump like right back on the conspiracy theory thing right out the gate, and then it sort of like wandered into some like random seemingly unrelated stuff and like did some like mystery of the week sort of episodes and has now worked its way back into like the conspiracy element of it, and it's done better since going into that mystery of the week sort of thing.
And they even think the sisters that the ambassador sisters are the same ones from the story about in the mirror episode. Little Chad, what do you have to say? Because you've been quiet.
I mean, it's Apothecary Diaries. It's kind of it's a slower anime than what you're used to if you're into action or isekai or anything like that. So I think that if you've watched the other seasons of it, you're gonna, yeah, I mean, it's a slower burn, and I just trust it to finish strong. It's the probably one of the best written animes in general. Yeah, I mean, the source material is strong. So, I mean, aside from like little hangups, like I know that flintlocks weren't in China, until the until Western powers actually imported them. And so, I mean, my knowledge of gun history, I have this, it happens sometimes where when you watch a show and you know too much about certain subjects, when they start messing with it, it just breaks breaks things for you. So I try not, especially with anime, because I know there's so much creative license, I try not to let those things get me, because I'm like, no, flintlocks were not in China. And like Crimson said, the most they had was effectively a firework launcher that they would point in a general direction to launch something that was gunpowder launched. They didn't figure out about actually rifling a musket or a carbine or anything like that. Or so, taking that kind of stuff aside, like you said, this is not a I think no, it was Crimson who said this is not designed to be like a one for one historical analog on this. So if you taking that out of it and just enjoying it as it is, I mean, Apothecary Diaries is just one of those things that you're just gonna like. I still think that it might, and it's tough when it's a two core show, that the binge is probably going to be very good for it compared to doing the weekly, just when you can watch it flow as a story all intertwined for the season. This comes up with something like Shangri-La Frontier. It's a great, it's a great show, but it's so much better when you can just binge the whole thing, because it's so like
Just what I did
right
with that
into
one.
it. Yeah. And you probably thought it was really amazing, but when you go week to week, it's still great, but that delay
Kills
can,
everything.
kind of,
Yeah,
it's not that it
this is
kills it.
one that's probably really good to binge.
Yeah, because this is almost like Apothecary Diaries is close for me. The way it's written and produced is almost like a high end streaming service drama, where they're made essentially to be one long movie or miniseries type thing, where you just watch, you shouldn't be watching it with big gaps or delays. They're designed to watch successively, with it just rolling from one episode to the next. Or in the old days when it was miniseries, it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like you'd have it every night for like a week, and you'd get the whole thing. Apothecary Diaries works better that way. If you go back and watch the first season, it's amazing all in one sitting. I mean, if you've got the time on a Saturday, if you're like Biggles when he was down with the sickness and he was just binging anime. So and this one is, and we're going into the second core. So there's going to be a little, we're resolving one and kind of moving. That's where you get those mini finales, like, as opposed to, if you watch a lot of anime, you can tell a finale episode where they resolve, play through the credits, set up villain or next thing, if and when we get a second season. This is a split core, so we kind of resolve one little bit of stuff, but we're leaving, we're ready to go right in. It flows differently once you watch things that have two cores. A good example is Mushoku Tensei. When you see the, like resolving the stuff with Sylphie was kind of like core one, and then core two was getting started to go on the mission to rescue his mother. The Apothecary Diaries is similar. It's two cores. It's moving into the other one. I like it. I think it's a little slower paced. If you're, I think a lot of people who like action anime are gonna probably be bored of this and click out of it. But if you give it a chance and you start expanding your anime palette, so to speak, you're not going to be disappointed with this kind of quality writing.
Like you guys forced me to do.
Mhm.
I mean, you should be happy. Well, like the amount of anime you can like. You went from having maybe 3 or 4 shows a season to watch to having like a dozen. That's
Yeah, now I have too many. But next season, I'm like, I've already got 5. That's too many, and most of them I'm already like, I don't want to watch anymore.
Biggles is already like, I've already started watching the Altier one. It's like, what? Is it just dropped?
Dude, and it was dubbed, so I was like, all right, I can watch it, and I just ended up laughing the entire time watching it. I thought it was hilarious.
As opposed to the other one that just dropped, that which I am definitely going to be watching, which is the evil Galactic Lord one, where
Oh, that one. Yeah.
it had a borderline like
Fucked up story.
I'm not going to say the 3 letters that the first episode seemed to be going with, but I think Crimson knows what I'm talking about.
The Korean secret sauce.
Yeah. Give me an N. Give me a
E.
T. Give me an R. What does that spell? First episode of that anime.
Oh, the thing you guys told me that I would be the main character in one of those animes. Yeah. Crimson said that, I think.
Crimson said
and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then he had to explain to me what that was. One where we don't get that at all is solo leveling. Yeah. One with no story, really. And they cut out all the character development, but damn, is it fun to watch.
I'll be
Holy
honest,
shit.
I was really disappointed that they cut out the failed revive.
Yeah, me too.
I will say that I think it does add a little bit to the character of the healer, like him, like or it kind of
Wanting
being
to
like
jump
based
out to
on
heal.
his
Yeah.
wanting to come back to try and like heal people. I feel like there's that. It also gives that whole thing also gave a little bit of character development to the our red tiger guy.
Beck.
So
Beck
there was
something.
that element to it.
See,
that
I think, but I think the thing with Red Tiger or White Tiger, whatever, when he morphs, he's a white tiger. But yeah, I think
He's
it
only
actually,
saying red tiger because his hair is red.
yeah. I like it better because in the manhwa, when he sees it, they see the failed revive, and to him that was his best friend. It seems like they kind of insinuate, and he knew that his friend absolutely hated war, fighting, all this stuff. So he sees the failed revive, and then he sees Jinwoo basically brute force the next revive to like make him come out. And then so then his character does, without even any direction, go over to heal waifu number 1 S rank.
Mhm.
But Chin, what is it?
Chaha.
Chaha. But when he, the plea, I think, would have even come off better if he had seen that his friend didn't want to come back
Mm-hmm.
and fought it. So he would be really making a plea earnestly, not just based on what he thought his friend, but actually having seen his friend say from the afterlife, no, I don't want to be back here doing this. That when you read it in the manhwa, I think it hits harder when he has the failed revive. In this one, part of it's also because there's speed running, like we've talked about before. That would have been an extra like minute and a half of screen time, and they didn't want to deal with it, so they just like arise, come right up, go right up, she's healed, and then he does his plea, and then he lets him go. I do think it also, they were doing it because it makes Jinwoo a more heroic character to not be brute forcing the revive just for his own, like to save the girl he likes.
Well, I don't even really know if it's something like he likes her at the moment, because there will be some stuff that comes in the next season that that sort of suggests like there isn't really anything there, and it's kind of one-sided at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his demon girl that he ignores and doesn't ever.
And he's got a sister that he ignores too. I mean, wait,
sister
wrong,
level. Yeah.
wrong thing. And then he's got the 16-year-old that's obsessed with him.
I love how in the second season of Sister Leveling, when it's the friend, she's like, "It's legal in Japan, the age of consent." He's like, "Stop it."
He's like, "This is Korea," and she's like, "I think it's the same thing here."
I like how the mission is like Diddy Party unlocked, and he's like, "No, refuse. If you refuse, you die. I choose death."
And it's like objective, uh, or whatever, denied. Or,
What's weird is not to get off on a tangent, but they're making this like he's so opposed to a minor girl. But in the first season of Solo Leveling, the season finale was him not skipping the unskippable mission at the end. So, and that was a minor and his sister. So it's
Well, I think Jenna's older. I
Is
think
she?
yeah.
Is she 17?
Technically they're in college, so
Oh,
so
well,
they're
I mean,
yeah, like I don't know why the other one's in college with her, but yeah. But yeah, this is just really fun to watch. Like all the character development gets taken out, all the stuff to reasons why to like other characters are taken out. So
It
Yeah,
reminds
it's
me-
very
lots of-
sparse on that in that regard, and I do think as far as like the actual like character development and the manhwa is mostly better. The fact that they focused a little bit more on like Jean Woo's um, family focused morals in the anime rather than like the part where the Japanese guy Goto is scared of him. I think that was a better moment in the anime than in the manhwa, but overall, the manhwa generally gives you a better experience when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I think in this case, I think the action is animated really well. That's what they're putting their effort into. Clearly, they're his Solo Leveling abridged for like a lot of the extra character development to get from fight to fight. I
yeah,
would say
and that
that
seems to be more canon according to the manhwa exclusive channels that are like, this happened in the manhwa, and then they'll
It's-
be like using sister leveling terms.
yeah, and it is nice. I mean, it really helps it helps those content creators out for all that cut content videos they can do.
Mm-hmm.
What I
Cut
would say,
contact. He hooks up with Jenna.
I would think if I was I would look at the way they have been. I know we're going into probably. I think we have the Vigilante, then the final season for My Hero. But I thought My Hero did a much better job. Kind of. I mean, there's always cut content. There always is. But I thought My Hero.
I wish ReZero fans would get that through their freaking heads.
That there's always going to be cut content. Yeah.
Yes.
It
There should
reminds
be.
I worked at AMC for like a decade, and I remember, and I've told people this, like, as everybody just looks back fondly on like Fellowship of the Ring, as the one of the great like fantasy movies. I was like, I can
Dude,
tell
check
you,
out Tom Bombadil.
yes, you're exactly the kind of dick I'm talking about. They were.
Yeah,
I told people like screening number one as I'm getting ready to go in there and help the ushers clean the theater. There was already like book guys coming out and me like, where the fuck was Tom Bombadil, man? Where was Tom Bombadil? And I want to look at him and be like, dude, do you realize Tom Bombadil was the most cuttable character in the entire Lord of the Rings book series because he doesn't do anything
other than saves them
but even that, it's just like he doesn't
and gives
really.
them the weapon that is able to harm the Witch King, or yeah, the Witch King.
You mean the girl? Or, I mean,
No, it's the weapon. It's the blade that Mary stabs her with that allows her to kill him. And he got that from Tom Bombadil. But I actually watched the movie beforehand, and then I took a test on Lord of the Rings based on the movie, and I failed it because I was like, "Who the fuck is Tom Bombadil?" And then I read it, and Tom Bombadil was my favorite character in all Lord of the Rings.
but for the essential story beats, he's completely unnecessary. If you're adapting something, look, you don't have unlimited time. You
Mhm.
like
The
So,
movie was already 3 hours.
sometimes they were already like 3-hour movies, yeah, and it was a pain in the
Mhm.
ass to carry back when they used film instead of digital copies. So like Solo Leveling, My Hero Academia, ReZero, Mushoku Tensei, you're gonna have to cut things down. You have to.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to comfortably fit the whole Estrella family thing into one episode like they did if you had included a lot of the other material that was in the novel.
And I found that to be that episode was chef's kiss amazing. Like because there's a certain level of respect you have to have for editing the right way to get to the core where you're giving everybody those emotional beats. You're giving resolution to storylines going back to the first season of the White Whale with Will. I mean, to do that, to do those callbacks, to give everyone enough moments where you get a sense of their character, whether it's Reinhardt, Wilhelm, or Teresa, like that was perfect. And people with the fact that they were bitching about that because it's like that one, it's the same way on Crimson when they were bitching about Solo Leveling. He spent the entire first 2 seasons up to that point only working to try to get that elixir of life to save his mom, and to get to like bitch about finally seeing the payoff where his mom's alive and he's actually like feels happy because all the work he did achieved the goal he was out to get. It's ridiculous that people don't like want to applaud that.
So
Yeah.
I have finally watched that episode because it is now dubbed. And I will tell you, I think I understand somewhat. I know I said this on Crimson Show, and he said there's more to it than that. But I feel like there's no real main characters in it. It's just there's side characters in it, and the whole thing's a fight. And then
Did you like?
Then they cut it early, do the credits, and then you get 3 minutes later of the rest of the story. But I did enjoy the episode.
I was about to say, like the same people who went batshit happy crazy about Gar the episode before without main characters doing all the fighting. Yeah, all the criticisms you're and maybe rightly so, lining up at the Estrella, like
Mhm. Well,
that's the same. You could say the same thing about the Gar episode right before it, and nobody had a problem with that because people like the show, like the Dragon Ball
fights.
style fight.
Yeah, but I think Garfield is more of a bigger side character than any of the other ones, if you think about it.
I mean, this is where maybe I'm just being a snob, but if you won't go back and actually watch season 1 and really liked season 1, how you could not appreciate closing the loop on Wilhelm's story,
Mhm.
I don't understand. Like you're from these people who are allegedly ReZero fans bitching about it. I don't think that I don't know, because it doesn't make sense to me, because the Wilhelm stuff goes like season 1. Wilhelm was a key character in Subaru's maturing and development.
Mhm.
He was a key character in fighting the White Whale, and you got the backstory, and that was one of my favorite episodes in season 1 was the flashbacks to Teresa and him. And then you're finally getting the resolution in season 3 where all that stuff comes together. Even in season 1, you're like, why is Wilhelm, why is he estranged? Why is he working as a butler and not even talking about Reinhardt? Like, what's going on? Like, this is all of that finally being resolved.
Mhm.
And people are like, oh, well, that seems where's Subaru?
Well, I also feel like these are kind of like the same people that I know. I said I feel like Subaru got more growth after the parent episode than he did in like all of season 1. But I feel like it's kind of like the same people that they never see the growth from Subaru as a character. Like they all remember him as Rem, like gave her heart to him, and he's just like, I love Amelia. And then they're like, he's just a super simp, And they're like, they never see that he like grows. And like, even at the start of season 3, it like starts with him doing a training montage, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
with the
it
whip? Yeah.
starts with him doing his
His
parkour,
whip.
and
Yeah.
there is one thing that like I did notice that was kind of weird. Like, and again, it's kind of a Tom Bombadil situation where if you're gonna cut something, cutting Klein from that part of the story was probably the best way to go about it
I don't
because
remember which one's Klein is.
Klein is a character you haven't been introduced to because he's the first time I remember hearing about him was uh in the like very first light novel of Arc 5, where it basically explains why Subaru picked up a whip and started doing parkour.
Oh, okay.
And Klein is basically one of the he's like the head butler at the Roswell Manor. So he's Subaru's mentor effectively.
Oh, okay.
And also the pervy old man trope.
So he's like Philatides from Hercules, except not a goat man.
Yeah, and he also has some sort of like divine blessing that allows him to like read people.
Okay. Well, you know where there's not divine blessings? Shangri-La Frontier. So,
Well, I mean, we have the divine blessing of trolling that all three characters seem to possess.
oh yeah, in the last episode they're going to troll, but I am so upset that it's over. Like I just I'm like, no, why would you end now? You got the
Okay,
thing that goes, and
so
then
for as much as everyone memed on Solo Leveling for being like the cliffhanger series,
this
I
is
would
way
argue
more.
Shangri-La Frontier is worse because every season so far has ended with a cliffhanger.
Well, lucky for me, I got to watch 1 and 2 right after each other and tried to catch up to everybody, and it was freaking awesome. And now
Well,
I'm
now
like,
you know the pain.
why
Now
do
you
why
know the
no
pain of season 1 watchers.
why do I have to fucking wait, man? What the fuck is this shit? But they like, okay, so Arceus was his name, right? The dude from yeah, okay. So he was saying he didn't like how it like jumped back and forth between the two games. I was like, why didn't they just go and finish this? Why do they have to go there too? So I was kind of with him on that, but I do understand why they do it. And like they haven't been on there for like 2 or 3 days. So they only had a 7-day time period. I think now they have like 3 days left. And the whole day that they're on today is going to be doing that tournament. So I figured maybe like the start of season 3 is going to be probably each one of their fights, or maybe two fights, and have like the first 2 episodes be.
I think we're gonna. I think each episode is probably going to be dedicated, or you're probably going to get like 2 episodes dedicated to each of the sets in the match, and then
Mhm.
like that'll get you in like 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah, I would say Shangri-La has done 25 episode seasons.
Mhm.
So that's 2 cores. The first core of season 3 is going to be finishing the tournament and the Abyssal arc.
Mhm.
I think that's the first core, and then the second core is what comes next after that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much what you can expect next season because it has officially been announced that there will be a season 3.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, I need this to happen now. Can it happen tomorrow?
Now, given the production schedule that the series has seen so far, I would expect it maybe by the end of the year at the earliest.
Yeah, I would say this is probably going to be a winter or spring premiere next year. Like like honestly, I'd say it's more likely to be spring summer of 26.
I just hope it's the winter and we can watch it even sooner.
It's possible, but I mean, given that they're going to go for a 2-core season, because I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that they've definitely got enough source material for it, so they can. Either
Well, there
that,
was only about like a year between the first and second season.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
hopefully very soon. If it happens tomorrow, I'll be happy, you know?
I mean, well, look, ReZero modified their plan for season 3 to become season 4, which I don't
Mhm.
mind. So season 4 is likely coming. I know that did they put the actual premiere date, or am I still guessing that it's going to be winter, spring?
Season
year.
4 has officially been announced, but I don't know if they've given us a date yet. Given that it was originally supposed to be part of season 3, it'll probably be sooner rather than later. It may be another case where we do see it by the end of the year, and like winter or like fall or winter of this year, we get season 4 of ReZero.
Oh, you really think? No, I mean, that would lead into the fact that it was really just part of season 3. That instead of having a delay, they just moved it to being season 4.
Yeah, from what I understand, it was supposed to be like 16 episodes in and of itself. So the production delays, it may have already been like a thing, and the production delays are just like, oh well, we gotta push this back and do something different. Because we just can't handle this workload at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And this is a nice comment about Shangri-La here. Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
I was gonna, yeah, I mean, go ahead and read it off because.
All right, you will want to have high production value for the tournament arc and for the conclusion of Cartbid, or however you say his name. Katarnid. Yeah, there we go. We are in the middle of what happened next, so they need extra time for more material.
I am, not a spoiler, but I'm, fairly confident that the way that is building up and what we've seen, that this, not to spoil anything, say he beats this other boss. How pissed are Pencilgon and Kay gonna be when they're like,
when they find out he's been doing all of this behind their backs
while he was at the tournament?
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see Pencilgon try to kill him in real life.
I honestly,
she will though. That's the funniest part.
Like, honestly, who else is super looking forward to how she's like? If there's anyone who's gonna troll, letting because you get to choose which kind of character you're gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna be a
villain.
A villain.
And just burn the entire world.
And just like, how am I going to troll? Like, I'm going to make that superhero have to spend the entire like match time just saving people.
And just like hit him with ultimates while he's saving people.
Because she's like, I'm going to get my power up from being a villain. And if you don't save all these people, you'll never get your hero power up. So
yeah, I can't wait. Pencilgon is great. I love her. She's amazing.
I loved the it was this season when they do the Shangri-La Frontier like little mini theater things at the end, and they had her like tips on being a player killer. She's like, here's how to be a player killer. Here's my techniques.
Yeah, that was the second to last episode, I think. But I still have the dubs to finish because they did not drop a dub episode this week. So I was like, shit, I got to just power through the subs so we could talk about it. But I'm very upset that it's over and I wanted more.
We told you it was a great show. You always hop on these late.
We have to bully him into doing all this stuff.
Hey, it's not my fault, okay? I do other stuff, and now that I'm just watching nothing but anime, I keep forgetting to do the videos that I have and edit my videos. So
next time
anime is.
I thought he was about to tell us it's not his fault because he's retarded.
Yeah, it's not my fault because I'm retarded.
Next time I'm going to be like, Biggles, it has a villainous, and he'll be like, I'm on it.
I'm on it. Guys, speaking of it has a villainous, I've been reading one about a villainous and a butler, the butler of the villainous, and it's like doom flags, avoiding the doom flags as well, right? So it reminds me of that one. And basically he like changes the whole plot, and just like the one we're about to talk about, it has a play about what's going on in the Otome game / story world. So from bureaucrat to villainess, Dad's been reincarnated. The best show ever. I put it as a 10 for a masterpiece. So when we were talking about this the other day, I said there was like a part based on what you guys are saying. Well, that wasn't in here, and I didn't realize that would not make it in the end of season 1. So expect some stuff to go down in the unless that was cut content in the episode before that.
I just think it's funny because you act like when you say it's a 10 out of 10, like people need to understand the Biggles scale. Is it a villainous? Yes. That
If it's
means
a
you're starting at an 8.
yeah,
Like,
if it's a villainous, it starts at an 8, and it can only go up.
So basically, it's biased, and you can't trust the reading.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, look at that 7.47. All right, it's solid. Now, there is the play. Did we get to talk about Fran?
Fran is our favorite new
Yeah,
I
our
think
fangirl, our favorite
I don't
fangirl.
because I don't think we've had an
Official
episode since
fangirl,
she
yeah.
got introduced. She got introduced next to last in episode 11 and then in episode
Okay.
12.
Okay, so Fran is my favorite. She's like a fangirl, and is actually the best friend of Anne in the Otome game, but doesn't get to be the.
Did you notice that her design looks very similar to his daughter in the real world?
Yes, but with green hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. Now, what I know Crimson has said it before, but little Chad, what do you think's going on in the play? What do you think the play's about?
I mean, if I was going to go on the fact that they showed Anna's mom kind of giving a wink and a stare to her dad, not Anna's dad, but for our villainous's dad.
Mm-hmm.
That clearly, and they made the reference that she came from a noble background of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like that either they're going to be sisters, or because they've mentioned that her mom wrote the play 20 years ago or 15 years ago, right? 2015, no, whatever many years ago it was, 20 years ago when she was a student.
Mm-hmm.
And how well that she had tightly scripted. And I think it's almost like it was a situation that really happened for her. So it's going to be a relative of hers who swapped out to be a commoner. Her dad and her mom know it. She's somehow related. I would say cousins, secret sisters, something like that.
All right, Crimson, go ahead and say your theory.
My theory was effectively that the play is written entirely based on their experience, and they figured it was so utterly ridiculous that they just make the whole play about it and never end up using it. Because I mean, you get a few scenes of what's going on with like the fairy magic right at the end there. And the way that, again, you talk about Anna's mother, the way she behaves and all that. So my idea is that Anna and Grace's mothers ended up switching places at some point. And Duke Auburn knows this, but hasn't been able to catch them because they're purposely avoiding whatever condition undoes their
switcheroo, their Freaky
their
Friday.
spell.
Their fairy magic.
Their
Yeah.
Freaky Friday.
So,
you know what? You know what it was? So the Duke was secretly in love with the commoner girl. He wasn't ever going to be able to marry her, so they swapped places because the other one wanted to be a just commoner, and that's how it worked.
So,
and that's so when he sees the girl, he knows that's his, the person he was actually engaged to when they were in high school, but they weren't actually in love because he loved the commoner. It's basically the same scenario now as the prince with her and the common girl.
Mm-hmm.
Except we know that thanks to his elegance cheat, he has managed to rock the affection levels of the entire town off the charts. So everyone will marry him. So, but in this case, going back to when the parents were in high school, he was in love with the commoner, but he didn't know a way to make it actually work. And then the fairy magic switcherooed him. How did that one work, Biggles?
It worked fine. Now, I'm pretty positive that there was actually a scene cut from like the Butler one now that I'm thinking about it, because I thought it came at the end of the manga, and I'm just kind of like scrolling through the manga to see if I missed it. But I could have swore that when she said it was all fairy magic, that it was actually Anna's mom that said it and not Lady Jacqueline in the manga. But I can't seem to find that page. So
I blame the brain damage.
yeah, I blame the brain damage too. But yeah, I also believe that it was the switcheroo, even like reading the manga as well. Oh no, it was Lady Jacqueline who said it. Okay, okay. But there is a scene that was cut out of the Butler scene. Unless there's another chapter somewhere that's not hidden or isn't shown. But it's really good. I love it. I love the story, how it's working. I love how he's constantly in dad mode. That's the best, where he's like proud of like all the kids, how they're doing. And he's like, at this time I'll actually be gracious. But let's go to another one I really liked, but I didn't. I know you didn't like the ending, Crimson. Little Chad, did you like the final episode of this?
I actually did. I thought it was fine. I mean, because I like that our Gairu best friend wasn't just a villainous plotting behind her back, but it did reinforce that she is smart. She knows what she's doing. And when confronted, she was like, "Yeah, I was getting him. I was seducing him. Yeah, I mean, are you an idiot? Of course, yes, I've liked him, but now I'm going to be out. It's very Japanese. Now I'm going to be out in the open. We can be rivals and genuinely compete."
There you go. Except Akane has an advantage because she's already married to him.
Yes.
But
I don't know. The Gairu sends those the spicy pics on the social media.
Yeah, and they even call it thirst traps in which we know the Japanese don't use that
She's
word.
like, "You didn't even respond." Well, I didn't even respond. So you got them. I am a little it is nice that I like the reinforce that she remembered from the beginning. It actually gives a lot of context.
Mhm.
Like, why she actually is so mad at him, and it goes back to him in her mind rejecting her after
Because
she had been waiting for years for him.
he remembers everything and he just couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it makes him look stupid that for someone with the perfect memory,
He couldn't remember
I
who it
mean, now
was.
granted, she grew up from being a little girl,
And
but and I guess since they never actually exchanged names, even though she knew who he was,
well, he
just
looked exactly the same. He's just taller now.
It is silly that he's just like putting out of his mind that it could be her because she's been obnoxious and hateful, for the high school term. It's very out of character, but at the same time, it's sort of in character that he would be that aloof about women, since that's something in his nature so far in the show.
Well, here's my opinion on it and why I didn't like it. We basically spent 11 episodes on a good trajectory, pushing Akane and Saito to be much more open with each other about how they very clearly feel about each other, only for Akane to basically go back to being exactly who she was at the beginning of the series.
Now, I know we've had this talk on your channel, but now we're on my channel, so we'll talk about it. So I kind of disagree with you. I know your chat was all siding with you as well. But when it
I'll
came
ignore
down
them.
to...
Most of them are idiots anyway. They're just there to listen. Don't ever let them pressure you into thinking something.
Well, I don't. Like Marcel told me he was getting upset with me because I said, which one did I say? Shangri-La Frontier is like Overwatch, except it gets right to what it really wants, where Overlord goes to... I think I said Overwatch the first time. Where Overlord goes like...
I was about to be
a
like, how
little over the top on
Overwatch? I was okay, Overlord.
Overlord. Yeah, it goes over the top sometimes and then goes back to where it was.
Well, Overlord has also like been like a playing card with shuffling manga chapters in their adaptation about where things go, which I mean you sort of understand a little bit because they want to kind of it's the same thing. People want action. And because if you try to give them stuff that might be a little bit of a step back, a breathing room, if you will, people like hate on you for not just going right into the action. So
Yeah.
Overlord tries to make sure that they have action beats every few episodes at a minimum.
Well, Goblin Slayer kind of switched the Watertown and the raid, the Goblin raid, and it actually shows like more growth for like Priestess's character by doing it in that order. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But on this one, I disagreed with Crimson because Saito, for a genius, he's really stupid when it comes to women. Like he's oblivious. He doesn't understand women at all. Even like the thing with Shisei, where her aunt was like, I always thought she would marry Shisei. Or no, the grandma's friend. Or no, the grandpa's cousin? Something?
She
Sister?
say no,
Someone?
that's his it's his aunt, so that's his
Oh,
cousin.
oh yeah. So like not Shisei's mom, but the old lady that puts his grandpa in check. Like the only one of the family, the one who
Oh,
doesn't like the
yeah,
secret. Yeah.
that is grandpa's cousin.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So she was like, I always thought you would marry Shisei. And like he pet Shisei and like embarrassed her, but he didn't understand that he was like embarrassing him. So he's kind of really stupid when it comes to women. So,
I mean, it did lead to the best line of the entire season when the maid just called him just
a
dumb
virgin.
virgin, a virgin.
Yeah.
It's like, like you've got a princess and a maid ready to go. Isn't that what a man really wants? And he's like, no, I wouldn't do that. And she's like, oh yes, thank you for respecting me, virgin.
But so she sees like him being kind of like not open about it, and then she kind of just goes back in her way because she's a tsundere. She doesn't understand
Are you
how
saying
to.
she needs to get a certain bit of medication from a
She
certain
she
little
needs to
scientist?
release her tsunderes, right? Yeah, that episode was a
Well,
tragedy.
here's the thing, though, is again, I go back to this whole time they've been working towards like this point where um Akane's being more and more open with Saito and being kinder to him, and then all of a sudden it is basically just a reversion back to full on tsundere. It felt like there was just this huge waste of time because they could have had some level of payoff there and then continued on without that. But no, we basically get Akane's like whole backstory for why she's always like beefing with Saito, and we get this whole thing about we get the whole resolution between Himari and Akane. But when it comes to like Saito and Akane, which has been like the heart of this whole series, their relationship was developing well, and it looked like if it continued that way, it would be a good pace and it would give us some good delivery. And they could still do a season 2 where they build their relationship more and more, even if you got a confession out of one of them.
I did see
Because,
that season 2 was confirmed. So
okay, cool. I haven't seen that, but I'll have to check on that. Either way, it was one of those things where it's like, did you really have to do that just to maintain the tsundere thing? Because you could still do the tsundere thing of her being embarrassed and her like struggling with it. Because even in the moments where she is being nice to Saito and where she is much kinder to him, there's still a little bit of that like hesitancy and that like reluctance to it. But you're also getting like the sweet side, like with the ring episode. Okay. Like there are still times where like she
the
was
texting.
genuinely tsundere, but she actually cared about the things Saito got for her and actually had a good bonding moment. You can continue on that trajectory. And what I felt like the last episode did was basically just say, hey, we're gonna start from zero here now that you've gotten the whole explanation, and we're gonna do all of this over again so that we can double the lifespan of this whole series.
But if I like the characters and enjoy their banter, I can kind of be okay with it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch a season 2. It's not like it ruins the whole thing for me. I'm just sort of let down that they didn't give us a better resolution to all of that.
So far, on my Rent a Girlfriend scale, it hasn't hit like F off levels of you're just keeping people about, like,
It
okay,
hasn't hit your protagonist getting erect to the idea of being cucked.
I mean, Rent a Girlfriend is, if you want a show where you're just effectively, what should be the synopsis? It just should say treading water. Like what happens in Rent a Girlfriend? The question should be, like, what doesn't happen? Them getting together or moving forward or any progress ever doesn't
No, the
happen.
question legitimately is what does happen in that series
Nothing.
because
Nothing
nothing
is
ever happens.
nothing in Rent a Girlfriend from season 1. What are we up to? Season 3, season 4?
Season 4
God,
is going to be coming out,
Jesus Christ. I can tell you
but
that
not
there,
before the creator's other incest manga comes out. Or sorry,
Which we'll be
incest
wait,
watching every day just for Crimson. No.
wait a second.
Uh,
Hold on a second. First, you said other, like, so far to my knowledge, Rent a Girlfriend doesn't have any of that behavior.
Oh no, the creator has another manga that got an anime. It's basically some rich fuck decided he was going to adopt a bunch of kids, raise them like their siblings, and then tell them, "Hey, you're not related," and see what happens.
This is like
so
the Brady Bunch in the movie where in part 2, was it Marsha and and
Greg or
and, Maria,
Bobby or
and
whatever.
Greg, Marsha and Greg realize they're not actually blood related.
Oh, and guess what? Guess what? From everything I've heard about the manga, it has the same problem as Rent a Girlfriend. What
Or nothing.
happens in this series?
Nothing. You know what happens in this one? We get a side relationship that's more fun than the main one. All right, this one just ended too. Did you finish this little Chad?
I kind of tapped out on that show. I kind of got bored. So,
Oh, well, it's
I don't
similar
believe
to the other one.
that's another one that's like, what actually happens in this show?
I mean, I
They
really
do
liked the concept that they were actually in the relationship at first, but then it
Oh,
didn't
okay.
really do anything for me.
So I feel like there's like 6 minutes in the final episode that I feel like if they just put it in the very beginning of the season or the episode one, like those 6 minutes, and just rearranged everything 6 minutes later, that it would have been like better because you would have seen like they fought a lot at work and then they ended up falling for each other and then they were trying to keep it a secret and all this. And I think if they put that 6 minutes in the very beginning of the show, it like because it would be in order rather than a flashback. I think it would have been better. I care more about the two up top than the two in the middle, who are the main ones. And then apparently, Crimson said the two on the bottom, the two girls on the bottom, are also a couple.
No,
That
that was Arceus who found that out.
oh, that was Arceus. Okay, and that's going to happen, I guess, in season 2 if there is a season 2. I don't think this needs a season 2. I think it ended in a good spot. Yeah, I think it could end at the end of season 2 and not matter if it goes on. But basically, the finale, she gets a new job and she's super excited for it, even though he was freaking out thinking he was going to get transferred after he finally made his goal. It's just a fun show, and they finally admit to people that they were doing it because the two at the top, they saw them doing like romantic stuff, and he just like grabs her and goes, "Don't worry, we're in a relationship too," like trying to like calm them down without having them freak out. So that was like the only people they told, and it's not bad. It's kind of enjoyable. You see why like the girl on the top didn't want to get into a relationship with him, even though he's like 8 years younger. But overall, it's just fun. I don't think it's better than the one that we just watched, but apparently the people have spoken and said it's a better one of the two. This also had a Rings episode that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I like shows that have progress. I like shows where people actually get to be. It's very different for an anime show for the protagonist couple to be in a relationship. So
Mhm.
I do enjoy when that happens. That's one of the reasons I think Dangers of in My Heart is one of my all-time favorites, is because that genuinely has progress moving forward each season.
Mhm.
And especially when you're like, oh, when you, because it has distinct time markers, you know that even though it's a, 2 seasons of anime, effectively it's only been like 3 months
Mhm.
in the actual like life of these people.
Mhm.
So it's not really a big deal to, like to feel like they've been wasting so much time, but they progress. We got all the way to a point where they, both realize they like each other by the season one. By the end of season two, they've confessed and they're going out.
Mhm.
Holy shit. Like that's like Rent a Girlfriend would think that's friggin' hyperspeed. Like, like to actually have progress and do that. I like, I don't need a 5 season build up to a confession.
Mhm.
I'm hoping like I know that in the manga, like for instance, My Dress Up Darling, we had the confession. I'm guessing
When she
that
was on the phone. Yeah.
no, we've had the real, like in the manga, they've done the
Yeah.
real confession.
Yeah. He confesses to her.
Well, the manga is done now.
Yeah, the manga's like closed up. So I think that based on the amount of manga chapters and how quickly they can do things, we'd probably be looking at 3 seasons of Dress Up Darling to probably wrap it up. What
Mhm.
do you think, Crimson? Does that probably sound about right?
I think we'd probably get about 3 seasons out of this
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So my guess
Or
is,
two in a movie.
yeah, I'm guessing second season finale is going to be Mutual Confession. And then third season is, just wrap up. Or you're right. I think Biggles is right.
No,
Maybe
I
they
don't
just
think
do a
I don't
movie.
if they do the mutual confession at the end of season 2, I feel like there won't be enough because they do wrap up really quickly after that confession.
Do that. Yeah. All right. So maybe that would be, if they do two in a movie, you get the confession in season at the end of season two. If they feel like they're going to do the whole thing, it'll be 3 seasons. I feel like, you might as well, if you're the manga people, and just commit to doing consecutive seasons, just do it. Like, so you can finish. I do feel like, I mean, I feel privileged, like the fact that My Hero Academia is actually pretty much kept almost on schedule with the manga to the point of actually resolving. It's amazing. Like, when did that first season of My Hero come out? Like 2018, 2019?
I don't know. We could look.
Uh, I think 2017 would be my guess.
2016.
I
2016.
was
All right.
close because
Middle
So,
of
there
June.
were like 2 or 3 seasons out when I first started watching.
yeah, so we've had that first season was 2016. It's going to be wrapped up in 2025, right? Our final season should be well, unless they pull like the Attack on Titan where the final season gets split up into like mini
18
sections
parts and it
for
just
18
sucks.
parts. Yeah, but so for an anime that is actually like really really on pace, right? Because the was it My Hero Academia finished up last year, right, in terms of manga.
Yeah, and it got
So
hated so much that he added, or the writer added like another chapter.
yeah, because people wanted one thing, which is we like our
Kuraka and
we
Deku.
like our best girl to end clearly and definitively with our Protac-kun. And when you don't give us that, we get mad.
How dare you, you bastard! Now write another chapter. Then he actually did it. And if it's not in the anime, people are going to lose their fucking shit.
Oh, people will. I mean, I don't understand. Like, I get where he was coming from. He's trying to be. He's a he's actually one of the better manga writers. I think My Hero Academia gets slept on for how well written it actually is.
That's because people get upset because of certain characters, like Mineta or the dominatrix teacher.
What was
So
her name?
basically,
Midnight.
they have
Yeah.
tisms over nothing.
Yes.
Because Mineta is purely comic relief, and yet he even gets moments to shine in the final fight. Like where he to see character growth where he's not just the obnoxious pervy kid.
I still
Yeah.
hate him. I call him
mean-
the purple pervert. I didn't know his name for like half the show.
Yeah.
The purple pervert. That
And I'm sorry, but
that sounds like an actual Japanese character.
That could be his hero name. That should have been his hero name. What's his hero name? Grape Rush or something stupid like that?
Like grape
Uh,
juice or something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it could have been the purple pervert. It would have been perfect.
yeah. So it was. I mean, you've got
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it Deku and Bakugo?
Bakugo apparently was the spearhead of financing his Iron Man suit. So, but yeah, it is. It's. I think there's something that it's a weird thing that writers get in their head, where to try to be like to think to be a good, considered like a great writer, you can't give a fan base what what is clearly what they've asked for.
Mhm.
When the thing about being a great writer isn't that you can't give them what they ask for, it's just to do it in a satisfying way. Like that's trickier sometimes than trying to bait and switch or do something different. And so, I think
Well,
some writers
here's
get
the
scared
thing:
of that.
is sometimes your fandom wants objectively shitty things. Like, do you know how many shippers there were in My Hero Academia's fandom?
That one Bakugo. Well, when it's mostly women that do the shipping, but there are some dudes that do the shipping. Um, have you guys played the game Persona 5 at all?
No,
I've heard
Okay.
a lot about it.
Okay, so there are these two characters, Ryuji and An. And it is kind of a dating sim as well, where you can date the girls. And if you date all 10 girls and then go hang out with Ryuji on Valentine's Day, all 10 come in and slap the shit out of you. And you get 10 cutscenes of the girls slapping the shit out of you. But through every cutscene, it makes it look like An and Ryuji are like, they like each other to where they would like be in a relationship. So when I date An, I always feel bad because Ryuji is the best character in the fucking game. Because I was like, clearly it looks like they're trying to set this up, but because it's a dating sim, they're not going to be like, no, you can't date her because she's going to be in a different relationship. But like, if you're dating her before the palace where everybody thinks Ryuji dies, she shows way more sadness for Ryuji than you almost also dying in the fucking thing, And then here's about Don to Don. Don to Don characters writing is great for relationships, and other shonen writers should take notice. No real bullshit. He should have been more of a pervert, have more pervert moments. IMO, but my hero was also a big disappointment for me. Deku got screwed over because he was supposed to be the greatest hero, and then he lost all his powers and doesn't have powers at the end of the show.
But he was the
spoilers.
greatest here.
He was for a little bit, yeah.
No,
I don't hate the ending of My Hero Academia like everyone fucking does.
I thought it was fine.
The entire world was watching his fight.
Mm-hmm.
Entire world, like America sent their number one hero who got aced out. Japan is about to fall. Then you have Deku, this one little skinny kid who comes up there, and when all the entire armies of heroes were getting just one shot into oblivion over here, he's the one who managed to take down Shigaraki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he didn't have 20 years of being All Might. The entire world is going to build goddamn statues everywhere to this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to be known as the greatest hero who ever lived. So I have no problem with a beginning where they said this is the story of how I became the greatest hero ever, and the end of the story, because being a hero like Deku did wasn't about doing it because he was going to stay. Like the whole series, they're pointing out these guys who's tried to stay number one hero for years were doing it for all the wrong reasons, and that corrupted the heroic nature of who they were. I mean, no better example than Endeavor, right? He was in it for all the wrong reasons. He wanted all the wrong stuff, and it ruined his family life. He did really bad things, and he's going to be spending the rest of his life trying to atone he learned through this series.
Well, in
So
the end, he
Deku,
does get what he wanted. His Shoto does become the number one hero. Spoilers for whoever read it.
I know, but Shoto had rejected Endeavor and was like had to, and he was inspired by Deku about how to really be a hero and unlock his true being able to work with both sides of his powers, the flame and the ice, and so I hate people who try to knock it for saying like, well, he didn't even get to stay a hero because that's not what it was. Deku wasn't trying to just be the number one hero and ranked. He wanted to be someone who helped people,
I
and
think
he
I
did.
think Deku losing his powers was almost effectively a predictable outcome of it, especially given the nature of
All for
One
or,
for All
one for all.
and the whole story, and the fact that Deku didn't have any powers in the beginning. And it's not even like he stopped being a hero, because I mean he continued to work with his friends. That's what the final chapter effectively says. He continued to work with his friends all throughout UA. He graduated, he became a
Yeah, he was a
teacher,
big teacher. He was a professor. He was teaching the new generation of heroes. Right?
and he effectively saw that as a better calling than actually being a hero, if I remember correctly how it goes. So I feel like a lot of people really overthink the ending, like, oh, Deku got screwed over because he didn't have all the powers and stuff. I'm like, you missed the point.
Yeah, it's basically the people
The
who are
point
mad
was
about it.
Deku became the ideal hero, the one who sacrificed everything he loved, or the one thing that was his dream, being a hero, in order to save the world. And he does get the girl in the end. So who the fuck cares?
Only after the fans rioted and they made an extra chapter.
Well,
And
I doubt that was actually what happened. I think that was always planned. People just freaked the fuck out because keep in mind this was a weekly production, and a lot of these big series do get epilogues. I think that was something that was always going to happen regardless of if fans rioted or not.
all
Well,
right, and I see like what are we? Yeah, Marcel over here. Oh, a Corkless. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be the next generation of heroes if he's doing his job and mentoring them as a teacher. The point of the series is if you are teaching teach the children right and let them lead the way, to quote Whitney Houston, right? You get the
He didn't even get the girl. That's a fucking lie.
he got
he got the girl, just not at
yeah.
the end of the manga.
No,
They take an extra
the
chapter.
epilogue clarifies a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get this wasn't the kind of manga where you're gonna see Deku get down. Like I don't know what people
Shucks, no, I'm just
wanted.
kidding.
Like
Well, the
the
people wanted
epilogue makes it
Bakugo
clear.
and Deku, and they got
That's
Uraraka and Deku. How dare they? Okay, so all right, let's go back to talking about anime that we're currently watching. So the finale of Zenshu. This one, I feel like it could have been done in 7 and done nicely in like just 7 episodes. I feel like this is a better binge if you haven't binged it. Animation is pretty awesome throughout of it. 11 is the best episode. 12 is also a really good episode. I'm okay with how it ended. And I'll let you guys talk. Go.
Wow. Yeah, this one really is an ultra slow burn series because it takes a really long time to get to the point where it's actually really, really good. But without all of that buildup, I don't think it would have been as good. There's a lot of character development and stuff that becomes really important that makes a lot of the things that happen in the last 2 episodes matter. And I kind of like the way it ended with like the sort of ambiguous, or the ambiguity of it, in much the same way that like Your Name ends and it's kind of up to interpretation. But overall, it does a really good job with its payoff on characters, and it does a really good job with animation. Obviously, looks good.
And there's no going to be a second season. It ended. Maybe they'll do a movie to see if the ending comes true, and she notices, and after the
I
glowing,
don't think
part-
they should. I think they should leave it right where it is.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a popular enough show to. I think they blew it when they bait and switched the audience instead of just being upfront about what it was. It doesn't matter how good the quality was after that. People were kind of a little bit not so
I,
good. And then like you said, I think they strung this out longer. Like there's filler, an episode of filler is okay. Maybe 2 episodes of filler in between things if you've got really great world building and it's fun. But this one had, I would say, was probably five, maybe 6 episodes that just seemed unnecessary.
The middle
that's why I
of the
said 7.
series is a slog, to be entirely honest. But when you get to like I said, when you get to the last 2 episodes, I think it does pay off a whole lot better because they took the time to sort of like give you some time around the other characters who would be a major part of the final battle.
Yeah, I mean, I just when we've got so many like, look, we've had shows like Freerin and Mushoku Tensei now where even the like filler episodes are just so well done with great character writing and world building. I think some of these shows are almost being punished because we're living in an age where we've seen like just successive years now some of the like A tier where every side character is awesome. Like there's all so much good, like ReZero, Mushoku Tensei, Free Rent. This stuff is all Apothecary Diaries. This stuff all coming out right now against this. So when you've got something where you're going to have like that filler, you better make sure you're doing something that keeps people
Mm-hmm.
at that I mean, I'm not saying it has to all be Freerin level like awesome or Mushoku Tensei awesome, but you got to at least do better than what they were doing in that one.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I said, the middle of it is a slog, and it's not the most perfect series. It could have handled its subject matter better, especially without bait and switching people the way it did. Um, I did like it overall. Like I was satisfied with the way it concluded, and overall, I do look back on it pretty well. But like episodes, from like episode 5 to episode 10, so that's five. That's 5 out of like 12. So 6 to like 10. That's like 5 out of 12 episodes there. It is a bit of a slog, and you do start to wonder where the hell this whole thing is going.
Yeah. So basically, when I said it could be done in 7, after it got to the where everything in the story was over, and she had to write like the Raven lady, the original author, had to write more, like come up with new voids to get the ending that she wanted. I feel like they could have taken parts out of like each of those episodes and just kind of like condensed them and put them together because really when we were in the middle of the series I didn't really give a shit about this show, and then episode 11 happened and I cared again, right? So there was there was that span that we could have cut out and it would have been a lot better. Now another one that I think we could have cut out a lot of episodes, although I still really really enjoyed it, was Princess Lessons. And episode 12 is completely fucking worthless. There's no point in episode 12.
There
Which
was
is the
no,
finale.
I mean, honestly, look, you either like this show for being a completely breezy, inconsequential, goofy comedy, or here's what we're gonna say. I think it was complete fluff. It like the concept was solid for like a couple episodes, then they stretched it a little too much where they had her go back and they were adding some of the fun new characters are great. By the end of it, I liked when she realized that she was in love and that some of the stuff was still humorous, but this entire series is just fluff.
It'd been
I
6
don't need it.
episodes.
And yeah, it was probably something that could have been done in 4 episodes. I would even say, if you wanted to keep it like where it was kind of whimsical the entire time and maybe a little fresher, I wouldn't have done more than 4. This should have, or you know what this should have been? This should have been, some of those comedy ones where the anime is only 10 minutes long.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
This
watch
is,
those a lot. Those are
yeah,
fun.
this is actually one that is 100% built to be a 10-minute long comedy anime, not a 30-minute show.
Mhm.
That's where you can have some of the silly, like the one silly, goofy joke that works is the entire episode, and then you're done.
Mhm.
That's I think it kind of lost steam. Some of the non sequiturs about the girl Uncle Duke
Mhm.
didn't have any real payoff. I mean, I don't mind that the season ended the way it did because that's the entire way the series was. I didn't expect anything different from the final episode. So maybe you were hoping for some kind of like
No, it could it should have just ended at 11. 12 was completely pointless. They already had the wedding, and basically episode 12 was just like, I'm still afraid to consummate the wedding.
Yeah, my big issue with this is that it had a lot of problems actually. First of all, it sets up a really like fun premise in the first episode. It gives you like the depressing sob story and then hits you with something fun and entertaining. Like, okay, we're gonna get some comedy out of this. This will be entertaining. And then it never really goes back to that the same way it did in that first episode. It's sort of like bogs you down with the drama of their relationship over the course of the next, I don't know, 6 episodes. Clark fails as a love interest for the most part because he's too clingy. There's a lot of red flags. I don't like him. I would honestly wanted to see him get punched in the face multiple times. It failed to sell Clark as a good love interest for a good majority of the series. And then we had like a few good like I liked the ghost stories episode where they were all like running around the palace at night. That was the kind of stuff that I kind of hoped that this series would be, with a little bit of like the romance stuff happening in between. But for the most part, it was just basically Letty wanting to run away and then being held against her will the whole time. And like Biggles said, episode 12 only would have been good if they had decided to do a time skip. Like jump into the future, like 10 years or something like that.
And
Otherwise, it was utterly pointless. So this one, I think, was a bit of a disaster in the way it just felt so hard to
Unorganized.
watch at times.
Yep.
I can agree, but what I don't agree with, if you would say that, is Guild Receptionist. I fucking love this show. I know you guys said bad things about the end and how you don't care about, well, I don't know about Little Chat, but I know Crimson, so he doesn't care about anything in this, and he got over the overtime, which is still hilarious. You guys are just lame.
I
And
kind
we
of
get
did want to see a little more like movement. I liked the I mean, even
love
at
story.
talk about Sundays again. I mean, but
Scared Crimson away.
what by talking about
I'm still
Sundays?
here. I'm still here.
I mean,
I'll just turn my camera off for a bit.
if we
while I
invoke the
take care of this.
Sundays, we should move to the other show that's actually better.
As far as this one goes, I'll give my opinion briefly here. Effectively, it's one gag wears off because it doesn't really do anything unique with it after the first couple of episodes. It's kind of just the same joke over and over again. I didn't really care for the adventure part of it. I was more so interested in Alina herself and her character, and I don't really feel like she gets a whole lot of development, at least not any worthwhile development. She's mostly just a tsundere through the whole thing, and the relationship between there is a little bit of development of the relationship between her and the party of Silver Sword in general. But it just kind of feels like it doesn't make much progress at all for the 12 episodes that I sat through to get there.
I would say what's also interesting is when you have somebody like Lulule, who seems to have much better character development as the healer side character in the party compared to our main character. And what's great, and we have flashbacks that give you hints that they could do more with their character to start getting into the relationship with the adventurer who died, how that impacted her. She was a younger girl, and now she, like what happened. Maybe do a little more about the in between from when that happened to how she became the guild receptionist. Like, has she been working there? Like, I would like
Well,
more. I mean, we get. I don't think we got enough development of her as a character outside of like Crimson saying the like I hate overtime smash with hammer. You know,
well, she does have that great monologue that gives you some of the stuff you just said you would like.
but I
Uh,
don't. But the show me, don't tell me.
well,
Like,
she was kicking his ass while she was saying it.
but the all right.
That's the
I
whole
mean,
point. Like the whole thing says, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. So it's going to be all about her not wanting overtime and her kicking people's asses.
which is why it's like, I mean,
It's a one-trick pony.
yeah. I mean, to me, it reminds it. It's a perfect look. I'm not saying it's not an enjoyable anime. I'm saying to get it next level, to be a 7, 8, 9 like rating for me. Right now, it's like a 6. It's like slightly above mid because I like the character design. I think I do think it's unique and fun. I like the OP with the dancing. I mean, there's stuff to like, but it starts getting repetitive. So I want something, like you take a show like was it, I don't know whether, I think it was last season, right? With I'm a talker, but I'm gonna be the
Yeah,
best
notorious talker. The guild.
notorious talker.
Yeah.
That was a show that had the same kind of just that could have been a little bit more one note like this one, but they went more directions, they added more layers, they did a little bit more to make that one.
Had more interesting characters.
Yes. I mean, they make sure they give you a little more backstory. Like, aside from Lulali, I don't like her friend who works at the guild is a one trick simp pony for the for her, even though she doesn't know it. We've
Mhm.
got we've got the lead of the party being a simp. I mean,
Jade.
so we're bookending with simps that aren't getting a lot of development. So
I mean, Jade had a lot of development as a character in there, just more towards his adventure stuff, which Crimson said he didn't like at all, was the venture stuff.
well, are you talking about where he was just like working to level up? I mean,
Also, there's one thing about this series that just doesn't make sense. Why does a open job for an adventure generate so much fucking paperwork? Like, you would think that the paperwork would be, okay, this adventure has signed up for this, and then there's more paperwork when the job is finished. You would think that a long job would generate less paperwork over the same period of times as a bunch of small jobs. But no, apparently it's the ones that don't close out that are the biggest headache, which makes no fucking sense.
I mean, Goblin Slayer, you don't really notice it, but in the mangas, they like Guild Girl and them talk about how fucking the paperwork sucks. So
Why though?
why? Because they have to keep filling it out every time they come and put in work. So the more and more adventurers go out, they have to fill out more paperwork for each job.
Okay, well, they can solve that by not sending out millions of adventurers for a job that someone's already handling. That sounds like the guild's just retarded to me.
Hey, you know what? The
Because
guild
you know
is
what?
retarded.
You almost never see other parties tackling the same dungeon at the same time, like with Silver Sword, who happens to apparently be the big problem with everyone because they don't kill bosses fast enough for Alina. She's always rushing in to kill the bosses they're fighting. So these are jobs that the top party is being sent off to, and they're struggling with. I don't think any other adventuring group is going in to check those jobs out. They're probably not being sent out. That's a logical inconsistency with the way this whole thing works. And the more I
So-
think about it, the less and less I like this show because it doesn't make any sense.
So I'll use Goblin Slayer and a lot of the other animes that have guilds in it, and people they go to different floors on the dungeons. They do different stuff in the same dungeon. Just because one person is like, oh, I have the dungeon, that doesn't mean they have the entire dungeon to themselves. Other adventurers are allowed to go in and kill different monsters.
Didn't they do a story arc where they sent this, I guess, party in by themselves to a dungeon and had the entire dungeon to themselves?
That was A-Rank Adventurers.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, that was A-Rank Adventurers, and that's because it was a super high-level dungeon, and unless you're at a certain level, you can't do it.
The thing is, they never actually give you any examples of why this paperwork is so hectic. They just tell you, oh, well, it's because the boss hasn't been killed. They don't give you any real good, reason for there to be so much paperwork, and anyone would rightfully assume that it's just bullshit. But ignoring that issue that I have with it, the overtime joke isn't funny after 3 episodes.
I still like it.
Overtime, haha, bonk it with a hammer.
So what's happening right now is that Biggles really wants to get statues of the guild receptionist girl, and we're making
I already have figures, all right?
He likes women who can kick his ass. That's the
Yeah.
Hey, no, okay, now this I know is not true.
Biggles,
and I
how
can
many
tell you
Dommy
why.
mommies do you have on your show?
All right. So
Do you have Priscilla yet?
No, I don't.
I want to get a fucking Priscilla after season
Okay.
5.
So
Wow. The changing Priscilla statue?
I don't think Swigs is still here, but he made me watch Chained Soldier.
Oh
No
yeah,
one-
Biggles' new favorite.
No
series.
one gets
And-
made to watch Chained
and
Soldier, by the way. You're
He
choosing. to
told
watch
me
Chained Soldier.
I had to watch it because a voice actress I like is in it. So I watched it. That entire show is just nothing but Dommy mommies. And you know who my favorite character is?
His sister.
The 11-year-old who's not a Dommy mommy, or the fangirl that's played by Brittany, who's the whole reason why I watched it. And neither of them are Dommy mommies, okay? And neither of them can kick my ass. So there you go.
Okay.
Friends of Biggles is-
Counterpoint: you're watching a series full of women who could kick your ass.
So
he's
I
in
feel
there.
like if I was in that world, no, well, actually, all the men suck in that world, so I'd probably get my ass kicked in that world.
He's
but
like,
I feel like
if I
if
was in
I'm
that
in their
world-
world for the other ones, then I'd be able to actually kick some of their asses.
No, no, you wouldn't.
Yes. Yeah, if I was in different worlds, I can kick a lot of people's asses in this world. So why wouldn't I be able to if I had
you know-
superpowers?
You would maybe be able to kick Aaron Yeager's ass without Titan form, but I don't know
Easy.
about anyone else.
I mean, I've been training to fight since I was 5 years old. I'm 35 now, so that's 30 years of combat training.
This
Counterpoint: brain damage.
This is
Well, yeah, that's why I have brain damage. I still know how to fight.
this is bold talk of Natsuki's Subaru level in episode 1 of ReZero. Like, I can handle this, and then he's
And then he just gets smoked. Yeah, well, I assume if I'm in a world with powers, then I wouldn't just be no powers, Like Subaru, even though he dies over and over and again, he still comes back from the dead. And then he's like, oh, you know what? I'll do this time because she came at me this way. It's like he gets his ass kicked so many times and he's like, I know how to win now.
It doesn't change the fact that most of the women you like could kick your ass.
Well, some of them it's because they have powers. Otherwise, they're not kicking my ass, right? Like some of the girls I like in the normal animes that don't have powers, there's no way those women are kicking my ass.
I don't know.
I'm not getting my shit kicked in by some girl who's 5 foot nothing and 100 pounds. Okay,
with a giant hammer complaining about overtime.
Well, see, she has powers.
Or a blue-haired demon girl with a flail.
It's powers.
It doesn't matter. They can kick your ass.
I'm saying if I was in a world where I had powers as well, who knows? I
Oh
probably
wait,
wouldn't.
what's our guess on the height and weight of our girl from Kaiju number 8?
Which one?
The
Shinamiya or Mina?
which is the one that you're hot for?
I don't like any of the girls in Kaiju number 8.
You're about the dude. Good for you. That's
I'm
nice to be
all
open.
about I'm all about the vice captain boys.
He wants that Boosie.
Now I see why you were pushing for the Bakugo Deku ship over there.
Like I don't like Shinami is cool, right? I got her on here too, but like I don't like it's just I like them because they're there, right? Because they're on the team, right? I don't really give a shit about any of the women in that show. Like if they were to die, I understand, right? I don't care. I'm not like the third division where they're all in love with Mina, right? Now, Mina in the side stories is a lot more fun because there's the one where she's like trying to get like the little toys from the claw game. So she's a lot more likable in the non-canon side stories than she is in the main one. But those are more like comedy, right? And then like we'll go to this in a second. But like in Dangerous in My Heart, the worst thing that could happen is she eats me alive. She can't beat me up, right? Or like I can beat up a middle schooler, man. Okay.
I don't know. I might put money on Anna Yamada. She's like 6 foot tall. She's
I'm all caught up. All right. I'm all caught up on Kaiju number 8. I know who's fucking shit up right now in the manga. I have every single manga that's out in English. I know all about the Kaiju number 8. You know, I spent like $3,000 on it. Because I just spent more money on it. Fucking shit. Okay. So hello, Miss Elf. I haven't finished it. Do you guys want to talk about it?
I mean, it's
Or is it the same as always? We don't like the fantasy. We like silver hair elf girls, and that's it.
100% in Japan is the part that was. I mean, the fantasy stuff is pretty mid, but the just slice of life in Japan, especially with meeting Grandpa and having some tender, heartfelt moments talking about his grandson's upbringing. We find out that his mom was a piece of shit who just left the family, things like that, and that's why he was so closed off.
You see, unlike Guild Receptionist, this one actually gave us a little bit of something for the two main characters that this whole story focused on, and they actually got their like kiss at the end of the series, and they're basically like a thing now.
And we had an open conversation about actually moving forward as a couple and doing stuff like that. We got the part where we find out Grandpa knows she's an elf because, and this was a great line, is like one of the privileges of being a grandfather is to hear the stories from your grandchildren from when they wake up about their dreams. So he knew who she was the entire time. And he didn't even ask questions. He was just happy his grandson was happy. He's like, and he basically was like, look, don't hide your ears. I know who you are.
So. It's a good experience overall, but some episodes are just a struggle, especially the fight against the wizard with the sunglasses.
Yeah, I think the fantasy combat, if they, if it gets renewed for a second season, I don't know if it already is or not. I would say that whatever animation studio, if it's the same one or if a new one picks it up, and I don't know if it's because the manga was really weak. I would imagine it would be. The manga was probably really weak with some of the action. Some time and effort maybe into just punching up the actual fantasy action part of it would be how you get this one over the hump to be a little bit more like great. To go from good to great is the fantasy stuff. And I think they're trying to lay the groundwork for some kind of world building with these magic stones and this and that and the other. And so far, none of that's really caught my interest at all. I think Dragon Mommy is a little bit kind of one note, and I'm not as in her. The best parts of her character were also in Japan when she was pushing our elf waifu into actually making moves and trying to move the relationship forward. It wasn't any of the actual fantasy stuff at all, which is I so that's interesting that it is that way. I guess the manga probably focused on that more because the fantasy stuff is just clearly less, and it wasn't it wasn't as entertaining, engaging, or you know maybe that was by design because all the other stuff was really great. Taking the train, going out and seeing the farm life, going to like the parts where they were at a Japanese castle and she was taking it was funny to see. She's like, look at how they're building this castle to set traps, and she's like taking notes and like, oh, look at these weapons. They were flintlocks. She's like, these would be, we don't have anything like this in our world. I wonder, they would be really useful. We can, he's like, stop. No, we don't need to bring guns into the other world where we'll be okay.
Yeah, that was fun. That was funny. Where he remarks on the obsession with weapons, but yeah, it didn't do very good with its fantasy element, and it didn't play enough off of the one thing that it had going for it. Although
Still very
it did
hotel.
resolve one part of its story really well with their relationship and all that, and all like the family dynamic and stuff. That part was good. I just wish that it would have focused almost predominantly on that rather than spending so much time in the fantasy world doing like the dungeon dive that ultimately meant like nothing to the series.
I mean, Biggles, have you read any of the manga at all, or I Kids Crimson? I don't know.
Uh,
I don't read this one, so
I
I
have
haven't read
the
this one
manga
either.
saved, but I haven't read it. I
yeah,
haven't.
because I have no. I feel like they're trying. They may end up like having something bigger going. Like they keep alluding to the magic stones and all this other stuff, and they had the cat kid who could enhance the stones, and yeah. So I think they're trying to lore world build into something that's bigger that they're apparently stumbling into, but it's just not. It just isn't grabbing any attention for me. I'm more like, okay, let's wake up and have the alarm clock go off. What are we doing today in Japan? Is it Golden Week yet so we can take the train ride? Is it the day off? Do we get to go have dinner with the neighbors because that was fun? Like that kind of stuff. How about show me more of her learning Japanese by watching anime?
That was a fun episode. Anything else? Because the last time I talked about it was the last episode I watched.
No,
I don't think I have anything
All right.
else to say.
yeah, I think
You
good,
guys want to
but not
talk
great.
about Red Ranger?
Red Ranger ended real like that's one where it ended on a upswing. I mean, it was good, and I think the last couple like helped get it a little higher for me.
I would agree to some extent where I would say the last episode was a really good episode for it, and it definitely improved my perception of it overall. But I don't know, it felt like a struggle to get up to that point, and then you get to episode 12. I'm like, wow, that was not what I expected at all, but it was really, really good, and I'm kind of glad I watched to this point.
Yeah, but he made those new bonds, and that's what it's all about.
I still wouldn't recommend it unless you're like a super fan of like this
If you like
Sentai.
Sentai, you're gonna like it. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not worth it just for like the one good bit of payoff that it has right at the end there.
Does it have a dub started at all?
It does.
I think it doesn't. I thought it.
It does.
Yeah, it does. It's like I think it's. Let me see how many episodes behind.
I'll have to watch it when the dub comes out.
It's dubbed through 9 of 12 right now.
Okay. So in 3 weeks, go ahead and check.
Yeah, and I actually really liked as season finale cliffhanger type things go.
Mhm.
I liked this one because it was a nice, not like, do you care, Biggles? You're not.
No, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, so when we cut back to the Earth with the other Sentai Ranger people, and they're like the units have been deploying like super regularly, something like, and they're all like, oh, there's only one person who could be calling the Zords. Basically, we just don't know where they're going, and so they're like they're gonna use their like his friends from the other Rangers are motivated and they're trying to find him by trying to figure out where the Zords go when he calls them into action.
Mhm.
So
That's
it
kind
was,
of cool.
yeah, it was nice that like they acknowledge like, because it's funny because you're like, through the series you're like, oh, the Zords just show up, okay. It's nice that the like tie-in at the end was actually also explaining like, yeah, here's where they're home based and they do leave here and go somewhere and we don't know like where that is. They
We
they get
don't
called out.
know what's going on.
Yeah,
Red, what are you doing?
exactly. So it was a nice acknowledgement.
So I have 3 of the new ones that just came out. This one, Crimson says it's like the jobless reincarnation of Korea. I guess one episode is
Oh
out
man,
now.
I'm gonna tell you right now, based on like, I haven't seen the episode drop for us on any of the legit services for the
Okay.
US. Maybe it's available if you Jack Sparrow.
Well,
I've watched it.
I think Crunchyroll just showed the trailer, so it might have just dropped on Crunchyroll. Like they posted it on their Twitter.
I have a time machine, so I've watched it, and
What I've heard, at least, from like, Chibi had put out some social media stuff I saw, and it is not looking good because this was one of those
it
ones where
does
like,
not beat the Diet Mushoku Tensei allegations at
yeah,
all.
that's what I like. This was one of those things where the source material was there. It was there. Like this is a very well received, like it has a lot of depth kind of manhwa, and if the I think this just goes to show how lucky we are with the adaptation of Mushoku Tensei we got, where we had a studio that legit really cared to committing to it and animating the world, the side characters, like really doing it, slogging through that. I mean, even in not to turn this into a Mushoku Sensei rant, but even like when you had the second season and it started and they were doing the arc with him with was it Sarah was her name? Was
Yeah,
that
where you had ED.
yeah, where he had ED. There was a lot of hate for that, but you
I thought it
to
was hilarious and well deserved.
no, but yeah, but I think there's a lot of people who just don't understand that sometimes this is something where it's not bad storytelling, it's really building up the payoff, because all that stuff was great character building to show like where he was at in the world, how he got pulled out from being like on the verge basically of like a living zombie, so like almost, and then he had the problem and then he goes to the school, and that's how, and because you have to set up why he would be so manipulatable by the man god,
Mhm.
and people like down, like there was a lot of hate for some of that sequence and that first half of that core before we get to the school arc, and then people picked up on it a little better, and then we get the selfie stuff, so people like that, and then the second core where we get, with Zenith
Bounty.
and going, that was like epic. With this show, it clearly looks like, at least from the reaction I've seen, and Crimson can hopefully confirm this when he says the diet stuff, it looks like they didn't like the studio making this one was just trying to maybe cash in, and they weren't taking the time to develop and let things breathe and really commit to trying to put that world into the anime.
Um. Well, here's my experience with it. It is effectively the first episode of Mushoku Tensei. But very poorly animated. I will say that. Like the animation for this series kind of sucks. And I also don't think they do the characters very well in this series, or as well, they don't do the setup as well as Mushoku Tensei did in its first episode.
If I remember right, the first episode of Mushoku Tensei ends when he blows out the wall with the water spell, right?
Yes, that is effectively where this whole thing ends. And they do have something decently good going for it. I will say this. There is an element of like the main character sort of learning some humanity. But it doesn't really give a good impression. It on its own, it would probably be an okay series. And as time goes on, I could see how it improves and why the source material might be so well liked. However, in and of itself, or well, not in and of itself, with the fact that it has to live in Mushoku Tensei's shadow, it's not as good. It will always be compared to Mushoku Tensei.
And that first episode of Mushoku Tensei is like you said, it's animated flawlessly. Like from when he
Well, it's
opens his
directed
eyes and
flawlessly as
yeah,
well.
like when he direct opens his eyes and sees Zenith there and Paul and just the animation quality is beautiful. And I mean, and Mushoku Tensei pretty much keeps that up the whole time. Like there's still cheats like any anime series where you can occasionally see especially this happened in the school life second half of the first core in season 2 where they do still frames with him and Sylphie like in a setting like in a like when they're shopping in the town or just walking and they do the cheat where oh look we're going to show 3 seconds of a shot and there's no movement, it's just a still frame. You know, I mean that's a standard anime thing to save some money.
Mhm.
But so you're not going to ever have an anime that is completely 100% like moving the entire time with here's a question, was did they use any bad CG that was blatant and obvious?
For a very brief scene, yes.
uh, or we're definitely not on par with was it
And also
failure frame or whatever it was
all of the
called?
magic, it looks to be CGI effects added in afterwards. Um
See, we
Again,
were just talking about how
I was about to say
we
Marcel with a
disagree with that.
fucking hot
We,
take.
we disagree
Um
with that.
no, this one is eh. I like the magic effects aren't that interesting. They do have some like building on like magic in and of itself as a system in the very first episode, but I wouldn't say it's great. They kind of give you like there's two different types of uh magic casters. You have people who are like conjurers, and you have people who are like the augmentation type. And he's 3 years old and all of a sudden he's blowing up the house um just by trying to practice magic, except for the difference is like they actually show Rudy doing some stuff. In this one it's literally just he he sits there and meditates a bunch, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like at the end of the episode, he blows up the house, almost gets himself killed, and then realizes, hey, maybe I actually do love my family.
Yeah, so the if I remember right on the manhwa from this one, the concept in this world is that like magic are internal molecules, and over your early life you can't do magic until you build up a sufficient magical reserve within you through these magicules, molecules, whatever name they give them. And because of his knowledge from his previous life, he can meditate and starts drawing them in more quickly than any other person would. And so that's why he sets off a magic bomb effectively. And I think he's only supposed to be 2 or 3 years old when he does it, much like Rudy setting off the water spell when he's like 2 years old. And so it is, if you if you read the manhwa, there's depth, just like in Mushoku Tensei, where he's talking about what he's doing and there's a lot of buildup. But if they're cheaping out on the anime quality, on the animation quality, it's so similar. It's gonna start getting a little divergent once once they leave the house and start their travels from Mushoku Tensei. But this beginning is like almost, aside from changing like the magic system,
It's
it's
effectively a
basically the
1-for-1
same thing.
recreation.
Yeah.
Like I am.
Well, then let's go to the next show. And if you want to hear about Rudius, both Crimson and I have a episode about Rudius. Mine was inspired by Crimson, so there you go. I watched the whole show because of Crimson's video, and then I did a video on it.
And I see Marcel's hot take. I mean, I would say if you bailed on it, if you go back and actually just finish season two in its entirety, there's no reason you wouldn't come back around and actually come to love like what they do with the Zenith rescue arc is some of the best anime.
Keep in mind, Marcel likes the bland characters of Overlord, so
he also really likes Baja Neko. So we know what's important to him.
True. That is true.
We know what's important to him.
He's a plot kind of guy, an inspecting the goods sort of dude.
Oh, speaking of inspecting the goods, that's exactly what he does in this show. As like a 5-year-old, I'm expecting the goods. Lord Liam, what are you doing?
You can't do that. You know what? We'll go to the other room so I can do it for real.
And then they allude to him doing the sex robot or the AI made.
Well, of course he's going to. Like, I mean,
as a 5-year-old,
I'm reminded of was it Coming to America, right? When James Earl Jones as the king is talking to Eddie Murphy, and he's like, "You sleep with the bathers, right? I know I do." It's like it was like he ordered the. I loved at the like when they're doing the catalog and they're like, "What is this part?" Well, you're gonna want nipples, right?
Yeah,
you don't want to order one without it. That would just be weird.
What are you buying a 5-year-old?
and then he flips to the next page and he's like, "Oh my god, is that what I think it is?" Well, you're gonna want one that suits your taste if you know what that is at 5 years old. Oh no!
Oh my god! So this is funny. I'll probably keep watching it. I kind of really don't give a fuck about the story. Like his wife, I wanted his wife to get hit by a bus. You know what happened? The guy she knocked, or the guy who actually had the kid, is the one who got in trouble and not her. And she's just like, "Well, how am I supposed to live without you?" Like,
no, but she is in trouble because she doesn't. He's dead now, so there's no child support money coming from him, and all the
jail. He's not
and
dead.
the other guys and in that world.
Oh yeah, he's dead
because remember she was still getting child support from him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gone. He's dead, and
she
the other
can get
guys
a fucking job.
And the other guy's in jail, and they're reclaiming all the money he had embezzled. So she loses that too. So she's now effed because she's not the kind of woman who knows how to actually work or
do anything.
So,
well, she could manipulate another asshole.
I mean,
she didn't get what she deserved, is what I'm saying, and I don't like it. But yeah, but I think this would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be
much
fun.
better than anything that I expected out of it. I'll say that much.
You know what this show has a lot of vibes for is Otami games are hard from mom characters.
Yeah, kinda, but not fully what I would want.
Because you can tell this guy is going to be a complete arrogant dick when he's fighting in that mech suit to other people.
Yeah. He already was in the first episode. And he yelled at like the girl that was in his squad, who is apparently like a princess fighting for the other world. So we got to figure out, I don't know if they explained it in 3, but 3 was like her episode.
Well, in part, I mean, episode
3.
Yeah, because you didn't watch the end of episode 3.
No, I only got halfway through it, and then the Mets came on.
Okay, well, they Alderaan her planet,
Oh, nice.
so she's a princess of nothing now.
Nice. So now she basically became his bitch and fights
Well,
everyone.
she hasn't been rescued yet, but I'm
Oh,
assuming
okay.
that happens when he goes. The pirate fleet she was going out to fight.
Because they
Turns
showed that
out,
at the beginning of episode 1.
yeah, it turns out they made a deal with the Federation. She was like the United Group of Planets that she was part of,
Mhm.
because not everyone likes the ruling family, so there were plenty of people to betray you, and the entire escort fleet turns their guns on her, and she gets captured, and then they
Mhm.
go to her home planet, and he just glasses it from orbit.
Damn. I got to
So
finish 3.
yeah,
But I also don't like the guide because he's taking advantage of Liam, and Liam was like, "No, fuck this! I just got taken advantage of in the last world. I don't want this." But
yeah,
he
but
doesn't know the guide is bad yet.
Well,
yeah, but he doesn't know that. But also the adorable puppy friend slipped through the door to help him.
Yes, I'm hoping the
It's the AI,
puppy
I would
is.
think,
You think the AI is the puppy?
because
So he's had
okay,
sex with the
that sounds
puppy. He
really,
had
really.
sex with the puppy. I'm.
because the AI is feeling emotions that it shouldn't have, and I think it's because it's being, and if you were trying to help your master, right, it's going from her, the dog is going from it being his master one way, it's now master another way. It's a very Japanese thing to do, to have like that soul go and help him through the AI.
And he sleeps with the dog.
I mean,
It's Bob Neko. No.
would that really be the
Man,
most,
Or sorry,
like,
Anuki.
man, I didn't know you had those sort of proclivities, little Chad.
Damn, little
are you,
Chad. That's why we're watching this, is because he did the.
I mean, look, this is a show where the first episode was basically an NTR without the other stuff.
Yeah,
So,
that part had me genuinely livid, I will admit. Like, I was ready to punch something after watching that first episode. I was
I
like,
just wanted her to get hit
this
by a bus.
fucking bitch, this absolute fucking whore deserves to get hit by not just Truck Coon, but every Truck Coon from every fucking universe. Like, I hope she gets Truck Cooned into another universe, only to immediately get Truck Cooned again and again and
No,
again and
she
again.
needs to get truck cooned. Liam finds out it's her, and Liam just fucking wipes him out, or wipes her out.
She just keeps getting pushed from one life to the next until she ends up in the same world as Liam, and then he finds out and just throws her in a dungeon somewhere and lets her rot.
Yeah. So another one that's really fucking funny, but is probably going to be better as a binge. How do you say this, Crimson? Because
Is
I
this the
can't.
Altier? Like
Yeah.
the
Oh, unaware Atelier Meister.
Yeah. So this one is actually really funny. So as we know, when you're in the best group like A Ray Adventure was, or Hero or Healer banished from the party, or I was banished from the heroes party, so now I live a quiet life in the countryside, or all these other things. When you're in the top guild, they kick out the lowest member once they do whatever they want to do. And who knows if they'll realize what they lost. And he basically goes into like a guild. He's like, hey, I got fired from the best guild ever. I need a job. He goes to a construction job, rebuilds everything like it's awesome. They're like, don't fucking come back to work. You're too good at this. Other people need to work and get paid. And then the girl in the red there with the silver hair, he goes to work for her. And then she finds out that he's really good at everything. There's these like bags that are only heavy if you have like high amounts of mana, and he was struggling to carry that. So that's how they find out that he actually has a shit ton of mana. And
But
yeah.
he's OP, but only in anything that is non-combat related. That is the fun little twist on this whole thing.
Yeah, and he won't, or he'll probably die in combat if it happens. But Is the blonde chick the guild lady, or is that just someone we haven't met yet?
Blonde chick. I don't think
We haven't
her.
met her yet.
Okay, so there's the guild receptionist at this one, and she's like, man, you know what? Maybe he should just work in the basically like has a fantasy about him working in the pleasure district. You're like, he would make so much money in the pleasure district because he's just like this cute little boy, I guess, at the age of 15. And they're like, yeah, he could be a prostitute.
Why do you want little boys to be prostitutes? Explain yourself.
Not me, the guild receptionist. I just thought
Explain
it was
yourself,
fucking hilarious.
Biggles.
It was the guild receptionist who wanted it, not me, Crimson, not me. But it was just fucking hilarious. But she's like, yeah, you should become a prostitute.
I think it was more so implied to be like he should become a host at a club or something,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't really like the same as being a prostitute, but it's close.
Gives handies under the table.
Where are we going with this? No. But yeah, it's a fun show, and this is probably the one I think I've enjoyed the most out of all of them so far, ironically, and it's the one I expected to hate the most.
I wasn't even going to watch it, and I think it's fucking hilarious now. So I'll probably keep watching it, especially because it comes out with a dub right off the rip. So as long as it keeps that up, I'll keep watching it. Well, if it stays funny, because the first episode was funny as fuck.
I just like that, like, oh, everyone, she comes back, you built a house in a night. And she's like, yeah, everybody in my village can do that. It's nothing special.
So that's kind of like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but there's a kid from the Boondocks at the last Dungeon
I've
City.
seen it.
Yeah, so it's like that. He's basically from that village, it feels like. And he's like not very strong in the village, but he's able to do all the stuff that compared to the rest of the people, they're like, he's like, oh, that's just a insect where I'm from. And they're like, that's a giant monster, you know? So it's basically, it reminds me of that. Yeah, Marcel said it too. So
Yeah,
that's
what if a kid from the dungeon from the last dungeon boonies moves to the starter town? Something like that.
Yeah. I like that one. That one also, he has like a harem, and he's just like, I don't even know what women are, you know, like basically. But yeah, so that was most of the anime that finished. I think we've left some out, but that's probably because I didn't finish them, or they didn't technically have their finale just yet.
Because Biggles sucks and he doesn't want to do anything.
Exactly. So with that being said, anything else you guys want to talk about? Are you guys looking forward to anything besides Catcher in the Ballpark?
I'm looking forward to plenty.
Wait a second.
that.
Biggles.
What?
How do you not talk about peak romance anime that concluded on Sunday?
Oh, that is true.
Shit. I did not have, you know what happened? I had it on here originally, and I accidentally.
You blocked it out because you were worried the Sundays wouldn't come back?
No. What happened was I clicked a button, or when I switched over, when I removed all my stuff to fix the camera, I accidentally didn't put 100 Girlfriends back up. So that was a fuck up. Okay, so the best show that was out this week, 100 Girlfriends that really, 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 really love you. Now, if we had it on my phone, I had the clip that oh, dude, I actually have it on Twitter. Can I show our DMs?
I don't think there's anything that I'm worried about.
There shouldn't really be anything in there that is a problem.
Basically, it's everything we talk about on the show.
I was about to say, it's the only thing I would be scared is if someone somehow found my my Discord DMs with my brother, but that's about it.
Can I show them the prostitute plays the role of the queen? Just another typical manhwa. Okay, hold on. It's got to show the video. Where's the video? Here it is. Okay. Okay. Share. Okay. Share the other screen. Okay. So this did it switch? No?
Not that I've seen yet.
Balls. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
There we
switched.
go.
Okay, so I forgot to share the audio, but he's just talking super, super fast and explaining what he likes about or loves about every single girl. And it's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Apparently, on the Blu-ray, there's going to be a regular speed version of him just saying it. That
Oh, really?
giant-
Now
the
I
gi-
have to get some Blu-rays for this.
The giant wall of text where he's just reading off like every single thing he loves about all the girls.
That would be amazing. But that, I was like, holy shit. And he's just like, I'm like, oh my God. So, yeah. So, 100 Girlfriends, the Sundays. And what is it? It's called My 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really Love Me, 83 Left or something like that. Or 87 to go.
89.
89 to go.
I think he's at 11 right now.
Yeah, 89 to go. And this one was really fun with the this is the manga's fault and this is the anime director's fault. And like you can be here. Like it's
because we have two girls that aren't supposed to actually be in this sequence.
Mm-hmm.
We are two newest editions. And I like where Nana was basically like, we have memories that shouldn't be present. It's like I blame the anime director. it's he's the one who chooses to move these things around.
Well, it was a good idea to move it because it makes it more fun when you have more girls, right? To do the Tsundere Spirit Bomb. I loved how they were all in like the characters' uniforms, right? From Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And then Hakari was like, I want to be Chi-Chi Goku's wife. Like
and then Hahari was like, I want to be, what did she say? I want to be I forget. I liked that when they made that means that makes her Bojin or Boju, whatever his name.
Majin Buu. She's gonna be Majin Buu.
That makes her Majin Buu. If it doesn't work, there's only a slight chance she might explode.
He's like, I will chill all of it. And then like Red Taro's like, it's not like I love you or anything to Karane. And he's like, why did I say that? Oh no, even the Sundare's affecting me. I gotta focus, and like breaks the ground and like holds it even stronger, like he did when he was catching the baseball. This show is just so much fun. It's full of fucking jokes that are awesome, full of references that are awesome. And then I like where he like yells at the god, where he's like, why are you acting like this isn't entirely your fault in the first place? Like, just, yeah, I really like this. I'm glad you guys got me to watch it after like the first couple episodes were kind of slow. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And then the episode where Shizuka is lost and she's like, and he's like revives from the dead and takes off. I know I say that all the time, but that was what was like, all right, I got to watch this. And that's why it is a masterpiece.
I love, like Shizuku's tsundere was adorable. It's not like I support you. Like, I love how they're all just doing the
it's not like your time is special to me or anything.
And then we got our maid. It's not like I want to spend my time serving you or anything. Each one of them doing their versions of her were great.
They're their best tsundere.
What was our darkness stand? And it's not like I want you to paddle my butt with a baseball bat or anything.
Well, she was like, it's not like you're the best at pounding my butt with a bat.
The show is just great, like genuinely fantastic all the way through.
I love it.
It is fantastic. Have they announced the next season for this one yet?
No, but honestly, I would be surprised if they didn't at some point in the near future.
This thing has to sell so much merch. Like, there's girls for every occasion.
All
There's
right. So, do you think? Wait, who's my favorite in this one? Do you think they can beat me up?
your favorite in this one. You've already said it. It's Carne.
Well, actually,
And yes, she could kick your ass. We've seen
actually,
it. She launched that little girl with a
you would
bat
have
like
to fight Rentaro for her
300
first, though, and you're
yards.
not winning that fight. No one's beating Rentaro.
well, as long as I don't say anything about Shizuka, I might be able to win.
No, it's just not happening. Even if you don't say anything about Shizuka, you're not beating that man.
Well, as long as I don't go after any of the girlfriends, right? You could take Rentaro. But he would definitely body Goku if he said anything about any of the girls. But no, my favorite is Inku. How do you say the baseball girl's name?
Iku?
What? How?
I believe it's Iku.
Iku. Yeah, she's my favorite. But Karne is my second favorite because
Well, I just call the
man.
baseball girl Little Darkness. That's
Yeah, Little Darkness is. You know who couldn't kick my ass? Darkness, because she can't hit shit. There you go.
She would be like, "No, Biggles, don't make me go out on the street and make money for you with my body. Oh no." Don't
See,
sit at home and watch Mets games eating snacks while you yell at me to go make more money.
See, Darkness can't kick my ass. There you go.
Yeah, well, the question is, can you kick her ass? And I don't know if you'd be able to do that.
I don't know
Well,
if there's anything better than the last
why-
season of Konosuba with where he was throwing his voice as Darkness.
See, I'll just have to.
I was testing out some new.
Don't
I
make
won't
me say it. It's my private time, my private playtime.
See, I won't have to actually kick Darkness's ass. I could do some weird stuff with the whip. Pretend I'm Subaru with the whip, smacking her. Because we know she likes the whip because I have seen Isekai Quartet. And that is the line I had Christina V, the voice of Darkness, sign my picture that I got of Darkness.
I am surrounded by
Show
freaks,
me no mercy.
whips, and furries.
I'm not a furry. Take that back. I'd rather die. Or are you saying because that dog has been jumping the entire time? So go ahead, talk more about 100 Girlfriends if you want.
I mean, I would say, like I said before, I think I've said before, this is moved into like the Konosuba territory for harem anime, where it is mocking it, but at the same time is the best version of it. So, I can't. I mean, if you ever had an inclination to see what a harem anime would be like, but you want it, but you're not really into it, this show works because it's comedy and it spoofs it, and it's also spoofing anime in general in so many different ways. So, but if you like ecchi and harem anime, this thing does everything that those ones do that you would like. I mean, there's no way you could see Hohari on there and not you put her in top ecchi levels of discourse.
Way better than Maria's Grammary, tell you that much.
All right, now you're saying things you don't need to.
Nope. Better. Hahari, better in every way. Does this look at that? Look at that. Better in every way.
This is why me and Crimson say you want that Dom mommy energy, because
Hey, she is not like a mean.
No, but she definitely has the second part.
The mommy. The mommy part.
She's pulling that mommy energy.
She was
Which reminds me, Crimson, if we get another season, would that put us into our student council girlfriend? Probably.
I'm trying to remember which one that is. I know we get one of the other faculty members. And she's one of my favorites just because
she's the drunk one, right?
No. There's one before that.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil it because it comes way out of left field. But
Because student council is the one that really leans into Hahari.
oh yeah, Kendo chick.
Yeah.
I think she might. No, I don't think she would be in there. We would get the massage girl.
Wow. Okay.
Who,
So there was a
who
massage one in this
but
one.
doesn't get along with Iku because reasons. But no, I'm talking about Natty. I'm particularly talking about Natty.
Well, I will have read the manga by the time season 3 comes out. So yeah. Anything else? No. All right.
No,
I
now
don't
we've
really have
covered.
anything else. I'm just hoping
No.
that this gets a season 3.
I wish
Me
that
too.
it should have already had the announcement at the finale. Honestly, it should.
I think one of the reasons it got a season 2 right away was because it was already planned. I think they were kind of testing the water still to see how it was going to play out for a season 3. And for how it's performed so far, I think it should earn it.
Look, I said it earlier on this show. If they keep effing giving seasons to Rent a Girlfriend, I will cut somebody if they don't give seasons
I will go straight to Japan
100. Like
gotta go.
the idea that they're gonna make people sit through that shit that is 100 Girlfriends and keep producing that like it's nothing, and they won't give us more seasons. I mean, they're not giving us more seasons. DXC,
I guarantee you,
they-
Biggles
no.
has like 100 alt accounts or probably more that watch Rent a Girlfriend just to ensure that it gets extra seasons.
Dude, I don't even know what Rent a Girlfriend is.
Good for you.
Yes, good for you. You're better for that.
Yeah, I mean, picture a romance anime where nothing happens after episode 1 to move anything forward ever. Where
Sounds
you're at episode 1 is where you're at 4 seasons in.
nice.
That's it. Nothing ever moves. We get extra girls added in where nothing ever moves. It's ridiculous.
Also, I wasn't kidding when I said the main character gets erect to the idea of being cooked.
Sounds like our favorite person ever, Crimson.
Hey,
What?
hey, I do not appreciate that.
I was joking.
It's all right. But don't bother 100 Girlfriends. I think by the next time we do our show, we'll be probably 1 or 2 episodes into all the spring premieres. So hopefully you got some good stuff there. Keep going.
Most of it actually should come out by the 6th, I believe, is when we will be convening. Well, actually, no. It'll probably be a week after that because I know Biggles said he might not be able to do it next week.
Yeah, I don't
But,
think I can do next week.
From everything that I've seen, we should be pretty well into the first episode or 2 of all the spring anime that we're going to be watching. Oop.
Uh-oh, someone broke something.
No, I just clinked a couple of glasses together by accident.
He smashed those glasses together in anger that there might not be a 100 Girlfriend season 3, but there's a season 500 of Rent a Girlfriend.
I mean, at the rate it's going, it might actually get 500 seasons. Who knows?
Dun, dun,
And
dun.
by then, they'll have gone out on not any real dates, just the ones he pays for.
Because he's renting her. Oh, so she's a prostitute. So the whole show's about watching or dating a prostitute. Got it. All right. So that is all we have to say. I'm just going to get the fuck out of here. So goodbye, everybody.
Crimson Set is just for the plot, but we all know it is probably not. Little chat with another slice of life. Biggles keeps talking about another villainess. And in the trouble, we decided that you were there. 私たちはそれら忘れて分析します。It's the Biggles breakdown, another anime night, fighting over shows and the plots. It's time for the Biggles breakdown. Breakdown.
Like hell we're gonna believe that. A goblin lord? My ass. You're just a damn goblin. Just a disgusting little goblin. And me?